And to be quite honest with you, I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted with Sue Bird.
Sue Bird's recent comments on Caitlin Clark mark a full circle moment, especially as the WNBA faces a noticeable drop in viewership and waning fan enthusiasm.
Instead, we're still getting bullshit on viewership.
Tensions flared between the two, but Stephen A. Smith wasn't about to let Caitlin Clark take the blame alone. He's defended her all season long, and that loyalty didn't waver when things got heated.
ESPN. So because I work at my day job on ESPN, I'm supposed to ignore the fact?
Sue Bird didn't appreciate Stephen A., pointing out the harsh truth. Ratings are down and fan interest in the WNBA Finals is fading fast. Like it or not, the numbers tell the story.
Stephen A. Smith talk about it. I've seen Shannon Sharp talk about it. And that's what I just don't understand is they work for ESPN. So why are you hating on a product that ESPN
they invest in?
Yeah, that's where these viewership numbers are coming. Yeah, it's a business you're in. It's not that they can't. And by the way, it's not that they can't be critical of certain things. They can have their opinions. But that's where I don't understand.
Even as an ESPN analyst, Stephen A. keeps it real. Caitlin Clark is the league's biggest draw. And without her, the WNBA has struggled to maintain momentum. Sue Bird counters that fans are still showing up, but with ticket prices plummeting, that turnout might not be as organic as it seems.
Tickets at the Target Center in Minnesota selling for as low as $10.
$10 for a playoff ticket? That's unheard of. Let's be honest, if Caitlin Clark were in the lineup, those seats would sell for triple that before tip-off.
We're supposed to talk about the attendance and says, like, basically that Caitlin had the highest attendance in the playoffs, which Caitlin Clark played her first 2 rounds in Connecticut, which only holds roughly 10,000, and they got swept, so they never made it back to Cambridge in Indiana to play a home game. So they absolutely did not have.
Sue Bird, one of the most respected legends in women's basketball, suddenly found herself at the center of a storm. Reports claim she pointed a finger at Caitlin Clark for the WNBA's declining playoff ratings and sluggish ticket sales. Surprising stance considering Clark's been credited with revitalizing the league's popularity.
There is a Caitlin Clark effect on all of basketball, and especially on women's basketball ratings. Kudos to her. She has elevated an entire sport.
As a lifelong advocate for women's basketball, Bird felt Stephen A. Smith's comments unfairly painted the WNBA in a negative light, minimizing the hard work of its players. She fired back quickly, defending the league's progress and insisting it could thrive beyond one superstar. Her frustration didn't stop with Smith. She also called out Shannon Sharp for suggesting Clark was the sole reason behind the league's surge in visibility. For Bird, that narrative ignored the collective growth of all WNBA athletes. She stood firm in her belief that women's basketball success should never depend on a single player.
And with Shannon, there's an aspect of them like defending their stances on her. Like, we were right about Caitlin and this is our defense. And I still think there's something twisted there because nobody ever said that Caitlin wasn't going to be a marketing gem.
The truth is hard to ignore. Caitlin Clark's dominance in college basketball brought historic attention to the women's game, and many expected that momentum to flow straight into the WNBA playoffs. But without her presence, the league struggled to sustain that same excitement. Suddenly, the WNBA was fighting to maintain the energy and fan engagement Clark had sparked.
Let's take a look at the stands. All the seats, even the courtside seats, are in.
To counter the drop in enthusiasm, the WNBA quietly slashed playoff ticket prices. Fans immediately noticed, without Caitlin Clark, prices plunged, signaling the league's desperation to keep arenas full. On the surface, sellouts looked impressive, but in reality, cheaper tickets were masking a bigger problem. Without Clark, the spark was missing.
The Liberty Games, they're full. It looks full in Vegas. It looks full every single place that you go. TD Garden sold out when Caitlin wasn't playing there for.
Had the WNBA kept ticket prices where they were during Caitlin Clark's season, empty seats would have told a much different story. Discounting tickets filled arenas for now, but it couldn't hide the numbers. Without Clark's star power, fan engagement dipped sharply. What's most surprising is Sue Bird's change in tone. Once among the first to praise Clark's potential to revolutionize the sport, She now seems more focused on safeguarding the league's image than spotlighting one player's impact.
Nonsense about things that Caitlin was doing wrong when, in my personal opinion, she was doing nothing but going out there and playing great basketball every night and ignoring the hate that was coming to her from all sides, not only.
It's clear now that Caitlin Clark's rise has made her both a hero and, in some corners, a target. It's a pattern seen across sports. When an athlete ascends too fast, the backlash follows, often from inside the game itself. For every fan celebrating Clark's meteoric rise, there's another who views her success as a shakeup to the status quo. Even legends like Cheryl Swoops have expressed mixed feelings about Clark's influence.
Caitlin Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now. Immediately,
without players like Caitlin Clark, the WNBA struggles to maintain the same level of excitement and attention. She didn't just attract diehard basketball fans. She drew in casual viewers, too, reaching audiences the league had been trying to connect with for years. Once she steps out of the spotlight, the league finds it hard to sustain that same energy and engagement. Without Clark's magnetic star power, keeping fans consistently interested becomes a far greater challenge. Though the WNBA has made real progress in growing its fan base and visibility, it still faces major hurdles in maintaining long-term support. Caitlin Clark is that rare kind of player whose talent and personality transcend the sport, bringing in people who might never have watched women's basketball otherwise.
People stick around and want to watch the others. A rising tide lifts all boats, which is what we were saying, both Shannon Sharp and myself, when we addressed that issue. Why would you say a quote like that? We work for ESPN, so I'm supposed to turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to the facts? That ain't what.
Clark's ability to capture the attention of casual fans sparked a wave of interest that the league hasn't been able to replicate. Now, in her absence, the WNBA is struggling to sustain that momentum and fill the void her star power left behind. Meanwhile, Caitlin remains locked in, performing at an elite level despite the constant media noise and scrutiny around her. But as her influence grows, so does the number of critics. Some of that backlash stems from jealousy or insecurity, a predictable response whenever an athlete achieves rapid success, massive fan admiration, and undeniable talent all at once.
WNBA playoff viewership down now that Caitlin is out. And is that somewhat factually accurate? Yes. It's not accurate. Viewership numbers with Caitlin Clark are astronomical. She is a big draw. Yeah. She brings in all the things.
Despite everything she's done to elevate women's basketball, Caitlin Clark continues to face unfair criticism. Many of her detractors seem more interested in tearing her down than acknowledging her impact. Yet Clark remains composed, focused, and determined to keep raising the bar, not just for herself, but for the entire league. What's frustrating is that none of the backlash stems from wrongdoing on her part. In fact, her popularity has only helped the WNBA by bringing in new fans, fueling conversations about the future and shining a spotlight on the sport like never before. Still, instead of universal praise, she's often met with skepticism and hostility, an undeserved reaction to a player who's only ever lifted the game to new heights.
To imply that we should just ignore the impact that Caitlin Clark had on this team, this league, this sport. Nah, it doesn't.
Tearing down successful female athletes is sadly nothing new. But in women's basketball, a sport still fighting for mainstream respect, it's especially disappointing. Caitlin Clark has the potential to be a generational figure, much like Michael Jordan or LeBron James were for the NBA, capable of attracting fans and transforming the game entirely. Yet, instead of fully embracing her momentum, parts of the WNBA seem hesitant to rally behind her. That hesitation reveals a deeper insecurity within the league, where massive success can sometimes trigger resistance. Sue Bird embodies that tension. On one hand, she's always fought for the WNBA's growth and believes it must stand strong beyond one superstar. On the other, she can't ignore how much of the league's resurgence ties directly to Clark's influence. Bird's pushback against voices like Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp likely comes from wanting to protect the league's image. ensuring it's seen as bigger than any single player.
Regardless of whatever noise has been out there. So when you show that you're able to perform in the face of adversity, to me, that is the true testament.
The truth is, without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA is struggling to keep its momentum. The league's quiet decision to slash playoff ticket prices is proof they're aware of the issue, even if they won't say it publicly. Sure, cheaper tickets make arenas look full, but it's only a temporary fix. The long-term problem remains. Sustaining interest without Clark is proving far more difficult than anyone expected. The WNBA may insist it doesn't rely on her, but the numbers tell a very different story.
No, when they got eliminated from the playoffs, the attendance dropped, the ratings dropped. If the WNBA is more, it is, and I get it. Why aren't people?
Attendance and viewership have both dipped since Clark's absence, underscoring just how vital she is to the league's success. The real challenge now is figuring out how to keep fans engaged when she's not on the floor. Without players of her caliber, the league needs fresh, creative ways to stay relevant. Legends like Cheryl Swoops and now Sue Bird have voiced concern over the amount of attention Clark receives, even though her popularity has only lifted everyone involved. Instead of celebrating her impact, some within the sport appear uneasy with her spotlight, questioning whether one player should command so much focus. It all points to a deeper issue: how to balance the rise of a transcendent star with the league's broader mission for collective growth.
People fighting tooth and nail the entire season, not wanting it to be this way because other people weren't getting flowers, or she was getting too much attention, or she gets a special whistle, or I'm gonna check her off the ball here.
No matter what the critics say, Caitlin Clark has done nothing but good for the WNBA. She's drawn in millions of new fans, boosted ratings, and made people care about women's basketball like never before. Her impact has been transformative, and it's time more people acknowledge that.
Caitlin Clark, like, what was your adjustment to her? Because that's really like some Steph Curry type of adjustment.
No, Caitlin is tough. She's good as advertised. I mean, in the WNBA, like, they said she's struggling and stuff like that, right? She had 20 points in her debut, 10 turnovers, but like, I mean, if you have 20 points in your debut and that's a bad game, then like...
That's considered a bad game. That's heavy, bro.
What does a good game look like? You know what I'm saying? So playing against Caitlin Clark, like, she's really that good.
I feel like the pressure on her is on some LeBron drafted into the NBA type of pressure. Like, the pressure is definitely different. The pressure is there. Like, even if she do one wrong thing, the clips is gonna be wrong.
Hopefully, in time, everyone will realize just how much Caitlin Clark has done for the WNBA. The league struggles without her should serve as a wake-up call for anyone who underestimated her importance. Without Clark, the excitement, energy, and viewership simply aren't the same. And that truth should spark real reflection throughout the sport. Fans, players, and analysts alike need to recognize that Clark isn't just a star. She's the foundation of a new era in women's basketball. Her presence isn't optional. It's essential for the WNBA's continued growth and success.